Thank you very much for those who have joined us again. And this is our fourth panel discussion. And I'm very privileged to have two with me, one from Nigeria. He tried his every possible best. He tried his best. He tried every possibility to connect with us. He struggled with the connection earlier, but I'm very pleased he's with us now. And also I have with me Olivia. I will introduce both of them shortly. Now, just to keep or to connect you with what we have been doing from the start, this is our fourth panel discussing this in this conference, Black Lives Matter, Together is Better. We're trying to bring different perspectives from academia, young, old, doctors, lawyers, practitioners, educators, all together to present and to deliver messages about their own perspective on this issue of Black Lives Matter, but more importantly about how we all can live together peacefully and in harmony. Not necessarily, yes, the main theme here is black, but really the message these people have been delivering from this afternoon and now, and I'm sure my next two guests will do the same, are all about positive approach to us living together. Not necessarily black and white, but not necessarily Muslim and Christian and other national religions or women and men. It's really about how as a society we should live together peacefully. I have the pleasure introducing my first guest on this panel or in this session, which is he's a remarkable. What can I say? A remarkable young lawyer, if I call him, or a barrister. And he has been in the UK. He studied in the UK, so he returned back to Nigeria, his home country. And I am very pleased to have you here with us today, Sunday, Afiko. He's an active young and I'm very what I can really say about Afiko is that he's a very strong character. He's young, he's in Nigeria, but always he is trying to build forums to bring people together to discuss issues. One of the last things I remember he discussed, which is important to mention now, about entertainment industry and how entertainment industry can be beneficial to the Nigerian economy. And I think that's true because Nigeria is expected, although Nigeria now is considered to be the second country in the whole world in terms of movie production after India, but according to the different statistics, entertainment industry is expected to produce lots of GDP contribution to Nigeria. So he's a young guy, but he's thinking quite broad. He's a visionary young African or barrister or a lawyer, whatever we call him. So Afiko, thank you so much for your time with everything you have done. And the floor is yours because I think I really have to give you the time before we lose you. The floor is yours. Go ahead, Afiko.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Alam. I'm very happy to be here today. Well, the issue I'm looking at today is the Black Lives Matters, and I'm looking at what has happened in America, what is happening in Nigeria. It's not just about the issue of what is happening in America. There's discrimination everywhere. Yeah, we can say that about 75% of the American youths are being discriminated, and about 77% of them are discriminated on daily basis. And most time they try to complain. I have a friend who was in America to school at a very tender age. And then because of the much discrimination, she could not continue with her education there in America. Her parents had to bring her back to Nigeria to continue her schooling at that tender age. So it creates a whole lot of issue and conflict. But I wouldn't be focusing so much on that today because I know many persons have spoken around what is happening in America. But I'm looking at the extrajudicial killing right here, the killing by the blacks police officer by the police officer, killing of blacks by the fellow black police officer. So it's not just about being the white, but whatever killing is a bad one. Now, while I was in UK, I understand that I personally faced discrimination and many other persons who were there with us. I was the president of Nigerian Student Society, and then I understand that many people reported to the Association of cases of discrimination. Those doing K job were discriminated against in several ways. These were one of those challenges that we had. as students back in UK working, you go to render case services to some elderly persons, and they feel you are kind of you're not worthy to touch them or some sort of things. So, but on the whole, the administration of criminal justice system is another problem faced in the society. Most time people perceive the blacks as criminals. So if in a case of being alleged to have committed crime, it goes to issue of proper investigation of such matter. Is this lack of consideration, which the law revolves, that every person is assumed innocent until proven otherwise. Now, this, because you're a black person and already they see you as a criminal, that presumption is off, and then one could easily get convicted because you just feel like he's a black guy, so the chances of committing the crime is there, and it's a bad perception which has to be corrected. And then as for the issue that is taking place in America, I feel the right way is about, because in Nigeria we have the female police and the male police. The male police cannot check or search, conduct search on a woman. So I feel maybe we bring up a systemic reform so as to allow where a black police officer should be the one attending or addressing a black man in a case of maybe if there's a black man commits a crime. I feel maybe it will build more confidence, and then could reduce the chances of having the color conflict. But however, we need to strategize a way of staying together. I feel such reform would be a better idea. And then also, back in Nigeria, we have to set up a system where police officers who commit extrajudicial killing should be punished, or everywhere. It's not about the police sacking them from work, but they should stand trial for murder, because life of everyone should be considered as be given a primary consideration, not just because you are black. And so we know we have the whole issue of racial discrimination in all sectors, but which we must stop. Every human being, whether black or white, we are all equal. That's one thing that's one message I want to pass across, that we are all equal despite our skin colors. As a black man walking there on the street of Aberdeen when I was schooling, I know that I was better in most things. I was better in most things that has to do with my other contemporaries who were white. But then that would not call for maybe trying to look down on anyone. We all have to strive to work together and exist together as a people, which is my main concern. Then also part of this consideration, suggestion I was making is that there has to be a systemic reform in our police officer to punish offending police officers who tries to embark on extrajudicial killing. That would deter other members from embarking on it, because most times they feel it's just about the disciplinary action by the police officers, which may not lead to maybe them being facing trial for murder. So at such point, if this is spelled out that despite the fact that you're a police officer, an army or uniformed personnel, when once you commit an act of assault on the innocent public, or maybe a criminal or an alleged criminal, you have to allow the law to take its full course. People have to face due process of trial before they have been sentenced, and then follow the due process of court to dispense justice before any act of killing or whatever is done to them, because the right to life is sacrosanct and everyone is entitled to this right, whether as a black man or not. The constitutional provision everywhere, even in America and UK, provides for this right. So as a citizen of any country, right to life is sacrosanct, and there is a due process provided by the law which has to be followed for anyone to infringe on this right. Therefore, if police officers or whoever infringe on this right, there should be a sanction. What is the law? The administrative coverage which they enjoy should be removed, so that these persons can face the full wrath of the law as provided in the criminal code of such country. And well, in UK, where I was schooling, it wasn't that bad to the extent of maybe police officer. They were a bit more civilized, but American case is a bit different. So the UK, we have a situation of most time, if blacks are accused of rape, it's almost like an impossibility to get a proper justice, or what could be justice in such situation. So because everyone presume already that you are a criminal, so it could maybe the justice system look at you like you have a bit of more thing. The chances are there you could have committed the crime instead of allowing the proper investigation of such act to be done. And I feel most comfortable when people are allowed to go through the due process of trial. So it will give everyone that opportunity to know that yes, the justice was well served. As a lawyer, I get to defend people who have committed several crimes, not because I believe that or I enjoyed or what they did, but because I feel every criminal should pass through the normal process of criminal trial. When my client is actually commits an offense and then is convicted, I feel, well, justice is served, because justice is a two-way traffic: justice to the state and justice to the accused. So it's not about who commits the offense, it's about the procedure for bringing everyone to trial. If a black man commits offense, he should be tried. If a white man commits offense, he should be tried. There should be an equality before the law, not by racial discrimination or whatever sort of stuff. We should give everyone the fair trial, the fair privilege to face the law as it is. And that's my take on the issue.
Okay, excellent. Now, Sunday, let me ask you this question. Thank you very much for a very nice contribution. Really appreciate it. Now, I have two questions before I bring Olivia, because I'm a little bit unsure about how long we can keep you connected, because I appreciate. The first question, in Nigeria, in Africa now, Nigeria is one of the largest countries in population-wise. Apart from the Muslim-non-Muslim conflict, we all heard about it, and that issue is terrorism, yes, and so on. But community-wise, do you see still, because I said that to many people, my colleagues here who are white, we do have discrimination in Africa between some people call them white, some they say call them black, ethnicity, and so on. Do you see there is also a tension within the black community itself, given that you are talking to us now from Nigeria?
Well, what happened was that when the black left Nigeria, some set of persons, which is the elite, step into the shoe of the black, of the white. And now these elites are the ones who enjoy better security, better way of life. And so most times those that are discriminated are the poor, who lacks the way without to defend themselves. They are the ones that the police can kill as though they are rats, the poor people. So now the difference now here we look at the white, the rich and the poor. So the poor in Nigeria suffers what the blacks suffers in abroad. So most time he gets to marry, even to the extent of marriage, the rich man will not allow his daughter to marry a poor guy. So the class difference is there. So that is the class of what kind of discrimination we see in Nigeria. And then apart from that, there are some ethnic diversity, which some ethnic group believe that the other ones are some sort of inferior group of people. Therefore, they cannot associate with the other ethnic group. Although they and then different tribal discrimination as it is in Nigeria. So we have it everywhere, not just between the white and the blacks. There's also between different sectors of the people and different group of people in Nigeria as such.
So Sunday, given that you are a barrister and you already mentioned this point, and it was mentioned earlier, I don't know if you heard them, your two colleagues from Canada and London, they both lawyers, yeah. They said part of the problem is that people, they don't know their rights. When the police stop you, like you said, the police cannot just come and they have to have there's a procedure, there's a protocol to investigate you, to search you, and so on and so forth. Some people have said that most of the immigrants to the US or to the UK or maybe other countries, those, for example, who comes from Africa, say like you mentioned now, Nigeria, because of the level of or lack of awareness in Nigeria and other African countries, and again, the people in those countries, they don't know their rights when it comes to dealing with police officers and so on. So when they move or migrate to the UK or America, they continue to be in that blind spot about not knowing their rights, and the fear of being a newly arrived immigrant, if you like, or someone not very much still integrated with the society, did not, they were not encouraged to challenge any police officer when they ask them for Sage or ID, whatever it is. And sometimes they said the communication is the problem with the police when they want to serve you, whatever it is. To what extent you agree or disagree, or what is your perspective on this part of the discourse now about this issue?
Well, yeah, most people like in the UK, most persons who grew up in UK actually appreciate the concept of the law than those in Nigeria. Now, in Nigeria, we have so many laws, but it's about the citizens' awareness of their rights. And most time, even when they know their rights, the willpower to push forward to ensure that justice is what is the law is what happens in their situation. So it could be a bit difficult because the Nigerian police could also be funny most time, because you try to claim you have a right, and then they could try to implicate you. So at some point, people get intimidated by the fact that they are the uniform persons. So you won't want to assert so much of your right at the point of not implicating yourself.
Okay.
So that is it. Yes, people try to limit the way they could assert their rights so as not to implicate themselves. And then some people who knows their right still have the proof the point that they know their right. That's why you see that police cannot easily stop a barrister in Nigeria. Most of the things they do to an average citizen of the country, they won't do it to a lawyer, because they know you know your right. But when it comes to other citizens, the level of legal literacy is a bit minimal somehow in Africa. So most people don't really know what should be their right. And that's why you see many lawyers try to engage in some form of advocacy. I know before I came to UK for my study, I was running a program on Know Your Right. And then I had to bring many lawyers to educate the masses. And it was lovely idea, because people called in most time to say, well, you've opened our eyes to different things that we never knew about. And I think that's the point.
Okay. Afiko, thank you very much. Stay with us. Let me bring Olivia to bring her perspective, and then I will come back to you. Thank you very much. That was been a wonderful contribution. And again, we very much appreciate your contribution with all the connectivity. Thank you. Stay with us, and I will bring Olivia. Now,
Okay.
it's a great pleasure to bring my second speaker today in this panel. Thank you very much, Olivia, for joining us. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for waiting and doing everything possible to be online with us. Now, Olivia, you are someone, again, you are a lawyer, you are a highly professional lawyer, and not only that, but you are someone who also writes books. You have lots of very famous books. I remember one of your book about you try to document the story, or not the story, but the story. You are putting a storyboard about what happened. These immigrants who come to the UK, why they are, what are their struggle, how can they achieve what they're supposed to be achieved. So you're discussing the diaspora. You also looked into issues to do with immigration, and also you looked into issues to do with community, and you are very much engaged in charities. I have watched and seen you many times. So you're someone who is not just a lawyer or a writer or an author, but someone very much engaged with black and white, whatever the nationality or religious and so on. So I will give you the chance. Thank you very much again, and I would love to, or we would love to listen to your perspective. So about Black Lives Matter, what can you bring to us on this discussion today?
Thank you, Professor Alam, for bringing me over to this program this evening. And I would like to lend my perspective to what's going on. Black Lives Matter. I want to state that it's not only Black lives that do matter, everybody's lives do matter, irrespective of their race, irrespective of their ethnicity. But what I can actually conclude from what is going on is that we live in a world that's prejudiced. You know, we live a world of injustice, and it takes some kind of education, investing in education to understand other races. US of A, where George Floyd was killed on the 25th of May. has actually opened the eyes of a lot of people to what has been going on for, should I say, not years, I would say ages, between Black African Americans, Africans in the UK, Africans everywhere. You know, there's been a breaking down of race relationships. And this is not the first time that would actually experience such. But it's been, I mean, put it this way, in the last few years, there's been a lot of racial tension, especially in the US, I mean, the criminal justice system, because so many of the young men have been taken over to prison, and some people have been charged unlawfully. You know, a whole lot of things have happened. But the straw that really broke the camel's back was that of George Floyd, and everybody was unhappy with it. And the UK, you know, people have come out, they've voiced their concerns, they've demonstrated. While I'm not supporting violence and looting, but I mean, the protests, you know, most of the protests, even in US and even here, have actually been peaceful, but it's more or less to bring into, you know, I mean, to provide information to the public, to the government, everyone concerned that things need to change. And things need to change because when there's a tension, when there's a breakdown in relationship, especially when it's got to do with race, it's actually hinders community relationships. You know, it creates a lot of tension. And I remember that I sent you some slides, you know, but I look at it that there's really no point in going academic. Let's just talk about the reality on ground. And in the UK, for example, some of the problems that a lot of people are facing is more of institutional racism. I know here in the UK, the government has done quite a lot of work over the years to ensure that people's human rights are protected through the introduction of the Equality Act 2000. Of course, we are not there yet. I mean, there's still a long walk to freedom. And obviously, I mean, you can't, I mean, unlike in the years where you have no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, I mean, you dare not put that, you know, publicly for anyone to see. But at the same time, the kind of racism that is in here, I mean, against Black people, it's more subtle and is, I mean, more institutionalized. You can't, I mean, you can't even put your hands to it except you've been there. And I would give an example. I will talk about the, I mean, immigration policies against immigrants. When I say carefully immigrants, because except by identification, you don't know whether someone is an immigrant or not. So you've had people being told to go home either by their neighbors, not knowing that the person returned knows nowhere than home. This person is a British citizen. And you know, when the media, you know, spreads information like go home or things coming from the government, you know, about immigrants, it's sort of hinder, I mean, relationships. I mean, give for example, the NHS surcharges, the landlord tenant rules, the relationship between an employee and then employer, whereby the employer has to check, you know, and make some inquiries, you know, before they could actually take in someone who is a Black person, or landlords turning people away. So these are, you know, things that do concern Black lives, you know, where people are protesting and saying enough is enough. And in a situation where you're in this country, where as a Black person, you've had to do 2 times, you know, more work, not extra hours, but you've got to, you know, either develop yourself, you've actually every other time have to, in one way or the other, explain yourself, you know, that you are this, that you can do that, even though you can. I mean, you are coming into the country, maybe you're already qualified from where you came from, then you've come here, you've got to start all over again. I mean, it's really, really, I mean, so difficult, and it's time. I mean, we look at what it is that we can do to make sure that institutional racism, it's something that's it's dealt with, by the government, by people in the community, because I mean we can't go further. We've said how can we work together, but we can't work together if there are people that are biased. I mean they are a minority, but I mean sometimes just takes just one or two people to fan the flame. So I mean the criminal justice system where by the police do either lawful or unlawful arrest, or I mean arrest young people or search young people just because they are biased against them or just suspect them and they found nothing. All these things must be stopped, and the only way these things could be stopped is more of education, in areas of diversity, understanding where people are coming from, understanding mindset. We're talking about history. Some people don't know how Africans got here, so it's easy for them to say, go home. But these are Africans. Over 12 million Africans were taken to the US. Some of them were taken to the Caribbean. Some of them were brought into Britain as slaves. And that still leaves a legacy of racism that, a lot of Black people are still experiencing today. Another point that we
that's very good point, but I will let you continue.
We also need to look at it's strengthening the community relationships, strengthening the community, raising an awareness about who we are as people, understanding different perspectives, and that has to start with education, primary education in schools, knowing the history of Black Africans, how they got here, the potentials. There are lots of things that are happening in Africa, but a lot of the times, they go for the negatives. I mean, we just need to visit primary schools and see the negative reports, negative images about Africa. So a lot of people don't know exactly what it is that is going on over there. And so, I mean, the press has created a lot of misinformation, and it just takes someone, visiting Africa to find out. I'm not saying there are no negatives there. Everywhere there are negatives, everywhere there are negative. I mean, there are ghetto, there are crimes, there are a whole lot of, things that are going on. But it just takes an awareness to know where to place what.
Olivia, can you hear me okay?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear.
You can't hear me, Olivia? Olivia? Okay, let me, Olivia, can you hear me? I think we will see she's having a problem. Now, Afiko, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, Olivia made very good point, and let me see if you can maybe ask you the question which I was hoping to ask to her. Let me see if she can hear us now. Let's just give her another chance to see if she can. Olivia, can you hear me? Olivia, can you hear us? Okay, now.
I think she has a connection.
I think she got a connection. Olivia, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Olivia? Okay, now, Afiko, what Olivia was saying, she's saying quite an important issue. She said, I don't want to be an academic, I want to be more practical on the ground. Now, when you lived in the UK, you were in Scotland, and I met you in London, so you know the UK and you know the system here. Now, to what extent, or if I ask you this in a different way, what do you recommend for the society, for the public sector here in the UK? Imagine the government is listening to you now. Where do you see the solution? I mean, not the problem. We have been discussing this problem all day and for many years. Now, if they say to you, okay, we would like to listen to you, because it's not an issue about the law. The law is there, but it's still being broken. What is your recommendation and suggestions for the UK government or other government in order to ensure we're really going to have a better future together, live together, not breaking the law. And actually, we love each other, not because of the law, but we treat people because we appreciate the potential of Afiko, not because the law said to me, you have to respect Afiko. What can you offer here?
Well, I think it's about the attitudinal change, the change in perception about people. Now, the video I wanted to send to you earlier was about a video where they tried to show some kids in kindergarten about a black doll and a white doll. And the perception of the little kids were that the black doll was the bad doll, while the white one was the nice doll. They also asked them which of these was intelligent. And then they said that the black doll was dull, was not smart. Now, this is a kind of inbuilt system which has been. So it's about changing the perception that the black is bad. So government needs to work on reorientation programs that will help people to understand that being a black man first does not make you bad. Being a black man does not make you less intelligent, does not make you less smart. So
and that's to do with education, Afiko? It's to do with education?
Education and learning and relearning, because people have already a wrong way of perception. So it's about bringing programs that will try to change the perception, how we perceive about the blacks. So even the black kids actually confirmed that the black doll was bad. And then they asked the kids, which of these actually look like you? And she said it was the black doll. So she was actually saying she was not smart because she was black. So it's about a whole lot of system going from kindergarten, from the womb, trying to give a kind of a reorientation to the people about who we are as the black. Then also amongst the black, we need to look out for each other. We need to help each other. We need to form a kind of mentoring group and association so that at least those people, the blacks that actually look at it and see that, yes, that person is a black man and is achieving so much. Therefore, I can also achieve so much. So it's beyond a kind of what the law will do. We have to provide a platform for the black man to grow. And then we, the black, we will try not to bring down our black brothers, because that is a bit too much around the blacks. You see a black man growing and then you try to bring him down. You try to paint a bad image of him. So we try to bring down and try to help and promote our own. I think that's what we really need to do. Beyond the fact that we have the law, we need a reorientation and also supporting the blacks.
Okay. And maybe if I ask you a question again, because I think you have a good experience when you were here, so you can tell. When you, what time you left the UK, Afiko? How long you left? 1 year ago?
That was a year ago, yes.
Okay. Now, so
March last year made me 1 year in Nigeria.
Okay, so it's quite reasonable experience recently. I don't want to put you on the spotlight, Afiko, but would you describe us in the UK as a racist country? I know it's quite hard to put you on the spotlight, but now you return back to Nigeria. Let's assume a friend of yours came to your office having coffee with you and said to you, Afiko, I have 2 offers, one to go to study in the UK, one to go to X country, for example. And you said to him, brother or friend, I don't know about the other country, but I know about the UK. Would you at all be envisaged to stop him from coming here because you think he's racist? So do you think the level of racism or discrimination you refer to in this country will stop you from recommending us as a country for another black students to come here? Or you don't feel that way? And just to conclude, I'll give you the last word to conclude as well. To what extent do you see in our own society in Africa or in countries where we are predominantly black, are we, I mean, like imagine someone now from the US, because this conversation we're having black and white, all of us we are conversating now. Imagine someone said to you, you blame me for that, I'm not very good or I'm not very good in understanding the nature and how to deal with black and ethnic minorities. I have been to your country, Nigeria or whatever, Sudan, Ghana, any country, and I have heard lots of stories about discrimination, about tribal conflict, and where you're killing each other because of ethnicity and so on. What would you answer to that one? So that would be a concluding remark from you. Situation in the UK, what do you describe it with your experience on the streets? And secondly, about us in out of this UK, US, Canada, and so on. What is happening in our own country? Are we proud that we are treating each other better? Can you hear me, Afiko? Afiko, can you hear me? Afiko, can you hear me? I think we, let's see if, Olivia, can you hear me? Afiko, can you hear me? Olivia? Olivia, can you hear me? Afiko, any success? Can you hear me? Okay, I think I very, very much appreciate both of you, Afiko and Olivia. They have done everything possible to try to be online with us. They wanted to share, and I'm very glad we have managed, although I would love to have spoken to them much more, giving them much more long chance to complete their messages. But I am very, thank you very much, Olivia. Thank you very much, Afiko. They have tried to share their experience with us, and I really appreciate. But this is the situation now. I think part of the COVID-19 lockdown is quite difficult to anticipate what will happen in the live streaming, because billions of people, not millions, billions of people are using the same technology, the same applications which you are using. So I would like to conclude this panel. It was been a privilege to have both of you, Olivia and Afiko, and I will make sure we can check on other panelists, and if they are still available, or if they manage to get, because we still have 4 people, we haven't listened to them. But thank you very much, and I will close this panel, and I will hopefully see you shortly if we can get the other panel to come on board. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
So please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.